you for joining us on India Roundup. This is Chandni Krishnan bringing you the national news making headlines this week. India and China military discussions next week. The fourth meeting between top Indian and Chinese military officials is expected to focus on the Finger area, a set of 8 cliffs overlooking the Pangong Lake. This is the toughest part of the disengagement process as Chinese troops have dug in their heels in Finger 4. The army is also keeping watch over the Depsang sector where the Chinese are yet to retreat. So far, the Chinese People's Liberation Army has pulled back around 2 kilometers from their forward positions in Galwan Valley, Hot Springs and Gogra. The Indian Army has also pulled back proportionately from these areas. SARS coronavirus 2 can remain in the air in crowded indoor spaces. The WHO has acknowledged that short-range aerosol transmission of the virus that causes COVID-19 cannot be ruled out. This came after 239 scientists from 32 countries published an open letter appealing to the medical community and to relevant national and international bodies to recognize the potential for the airborne spread of COVID-19. The WHO now recommends that people avoid crowded places, close contact settings, and confined and enclosed spaces with poor ventilation. This is in addition to wearing fabric masks or face coverings in public. Are you bored with the lockdown? The new offering from the King of Thrills and Chills may be just the thing for you. Stephen King, the highly popular contemporary American author of horror, science fiction, and fantasy novels, has written a new book. The book, called If It Bleeds, has already been published in the United States of America and will be available in India from July 10. It contains 4 new exceptionally compelling novellas, and according to the Washington Post, they cover a surprising amount of emotional territory but can still be read in one sitting. Notification for new draft rules for Code on Wages. The Labour Ministry has notified the draft Code on Wages rules, which would fix a statutory floor wage across the country for all workers based on minimum living standards and certain qualitative living conditions. The normal working day shall comprise of 8 hours of work and 1 or more intervals of rest, which in total shall not exceed 1 hour, the draft said. Through the official Gazette notification, the government has asked stakeholders to make suggestions and raise objections within 45 days. India-Nepal Border Row. Can a postage stamp make a difference? Bhubaneswar-based organization Bharat Raksha Manch has released a postal envelope depicting a stamp that was supposedly issued by Nepal, which shows a map where the areas under dispute belong to India. According to noted philatelist Anil Dheer, who is also National Secretary of the Manch, since 1954, Nepal has issued 29 postage stamps in which their national map has always been shown exactly as claimed by India. Now, the burning question is, will this be enough to convince Nepal of its misdemeanor? India worried about students in the US. The US Immigration Authority has announced that foreign students will have to leave the country or risk deportation if their universities choose online-only options for the fall semester starting September this year because of COVID-19 concerns. This move will adversely affect hundreds of thousands of Indian students. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said that India has conveyed to the US the need to consider the role of educational exchanges between the countries as they play a key role in bilateral relations. He said that the US side has made a note of India's concerns. Kuwait considers reducing its expatriate numbers from 70% of the total population to 30%. A bill drastically sizing down the 3.3 million strong expatriate community in Kuwait within months is being reviewed by the Parliamentary Human Resources Development Committee. The bill places the 800,000 strong Indian community at risk. Right now, around 90% of Kuwaitis work in government jobs, while several 100,000 foreigners are engaged in the low-level jobs, which Kuwaitis typically reject. a different draft of the proposed law will also be tabled to gradually reduce the numbers, taking people's work specializations and academic credentials into consideration. The United Kingdom is committed to working with India as a force for good in the world. The new British High Commissioner, Philip Barton, presented his credentials to President Ram Nath Kovind in a virtual ceremony in New Delhi. Barton, who was posted as a diplomat in India in the 90s, has deep sentimental ties to the country and in fact has named his daughter India. Barton said that in the light of the UK leaving the European Union, his country is committed to developing an economic partnership with India and tackling the challenges of climate change together. Heads of missions from New Zealand and Uzbekistan also presented their credentials to the President through video conference. And that is all from me for this week. Thank you for watching. Stay well, and we'll see you here next week.